Hello, sixth graders. We are starting our second project, like our bigger project, the one that is graded, and it is a kinetic wire mobile. I'm excited about this because this is the time where you actually get to use your bag of goodies. You're going to build it at home, and then we'll take some photos and, of course, upload it on Google Classroom. So we have already done a lot so far, practicing a smiley photo, nature mandala, and then we started a paper stable mobile this week, and that is due at the end of the week. So I'm excited to kind of do this next adventure with what we have in our baggie. All right, so the kinetic wire mobile, we are looking at the artist of Alexander Calder. He was born in 1898 to 1976. He's pretty cool. He's got a lot to offer the world, and his art is quite amazing. So he was born in 1898 in Pennsylvania. He studied mechanical engineering. He began working at various jobs. So he was a drafter, a logger, a riverboat firefighter. He started to study drawing and painting at the Arts Students League of New York. And then he moved to Paris and began producing amusing animates from paper, rags, wire, and wood. His friends describe him as curious, quiet, likable, whose hands and thoughts were always in motion. He died in New York in 1976. So he invented the mobile and a stable. A stable is an abstract sculpture similar to a mobile, but it is stationary. You guys made a mobile. You guys made a stable out of paper. You took that piece of paper and kind of created something over the last couple days. He made motorized and hand-cranked sculptures. He was the first artist to make sculpture move, which is pretty awesome. And then during his career, he produced more than 17,000 works, which is a lot, right? Tons. Do you think that these can move? So if you look at these, do you think they can actually move? Hard to know, right? I think the mobiles one can move, but the stable ones cannot move. Calder's art. His large arching sculptures are found in parks and plazas across the world. He has quite a few of these stables. So this one is a Jerusalem stable, and then the next one is Cheval Rouge. And they're very abstract, they're very organic, made from metal, and they do not move. They're huge, right? Like you can crawl on them. Then he also has some portraits. So these two different portraits are kind of wire sculptures that he's created. Kinetic sculpture is a sculpture that moves or has moving parts. The motion may come from force of gravity, electricity, but somehow there is motion. The lines, a continuous line marks the, oh good, I wanted to move myself, sorry. A continuous line can vary in length, width, direction, curvature, and color. Lines can be the two-dimensional on pencil and paper or three-dimensional with the wire, or they can be implied. And then there's motion, so there is movement. This one on the right is Constellations with Two Pins. That's why I was trying to move my photo. 1943. I love that there is kind of a mix of wire, a little bit of color, and it's a beautiful sculpture. Some more stable examples would be this flamingo on the left, and then the polygons and the triangles on the right. Something as you're looking at these, what do these maybe remind you of? Some mobile examples of his is, if you can look here, there are quite a variety of his different mobiles. So the fish, I think, is quite amazing, very intricate, and probably took quite a while. And then you can see three others that all are similar, but all are different. And so these mobiles how do they make you feel, right? Like, what does that kind of represent for you? For me, they're very playful, very colorful, but also feeling very light. They don't feel very heavy, which I think is kind of a fun part about the mobile. This is a ball player, and then this is Medusa. This is two more that he's just created out of wire to order to, and just kind of keeps manipulating and moving wire. You have a wire hanger, and some are white, and some might be just normal wire hangers. Most people don't have wire hangers anymore, but some people do. I cut off the top so it would give you more area to manipulate. You might have wire cutters at your house or a way to cut wire. Some people do not. So I wanted it to make it where everybody didn't need a wire cutter to create this piece of artwork. So if you wanted to kind of go this route of a face, you're going to kind of just keep with the wire, you're going to move and bend to what your design is. So I had the chance to go to Paris, and then I went to the Picasso Museum because I love Picasso, and it happened to be that Calder had a bunch of sculptures in the Picasso Museum in Paris, so about a year and a half ago. And so as you can see, this is a very big sculpture of Calder's that is in the sky, and it's all red. And then the picture on the left is the outside of the museum. But it was kind of mind-blowing. It was probably the first time that I really had thought like, wow, Calder's really interesting. Because sometimes I would maybe just be like, that's cool, and then move on by. But when I saw multiples of his in person, so these are the ones I took at the museum, you can kind of see my reflection in the one on the right. But I was really moved, and I was really quite just like fascinated at his skill and his artistry to create these mobiles. These are more different ones that I saw at the museum in the pictures I took. So in your packet, like I said, you have a wire hanger, and it could be white or it could be brown. Then I put in kind of another variety of stuff. So there is this metal wire, one or two of these that is a little bit like thicker, and you could bend this how you'd want it. Then there's some of these twisty ties, which you can cut super easy with scissors, and you can also do interesting things with these. So they could go little, you could keep them big, you can use them, you don't have to use them. Everything in your bag, you don't have to use it all, but I wanted to give you choices and options and things that you could use to create. I gave you some small pipe cleaners, maybe a few, as you can see in the picture, and they were just random colors. I gave you some little random colors piece of construction paper, so you could cut shapes, you could manipulate these, you could fold these into origami. I mean, your options are endless. And then I also gave you some bigger paper, depending on, there was like some longer construction paper, which again, might be, they're just random colors. So you could do what you would want with this. Then there was some feathers, and then there's some beads. You can use them, you do not have to use them. So some random feathers, which are always fun, and then some random beads. Wait, yeah. You're gonna create a mobile. You can make your mobile, and it has to have movement, all right? I'm not showing you an example of a done one, so this is gonna be kind of fun because I want you to see where you're gonna take it. It's a challenge of sorts. It must be 12 inches either wide or 12 inches high. So this is pretty long. I would say that this, I don't have a measuring, but I would say that this is probably 14 to 16 inches long, right? And if I put it high, I could put it high. Now with this, I could of course make this and open this up and make this bigger, right? And just use the wire. I could cut the wire apart if I have some form of wire cutter. If I undo my hanger, which will take some muscle, it will be roughly like the size of a yardstick, so it can get pretty long. What I want you to do is be inspired by Calder's art. Maybe you want to go the route of shapes and geometric and kind of design something with that, or maybe you want to go more portrait and make a face out of wire. That is your choice. Here is a construction idea of how to kind of make this standard mobile. And so with this, these little circle pieces, you would actually, right here, these, you would have to make out of construction paper. this right here, you can make out of your wire. So if you can see, this is all wire. If you have like fishing wire at home or fishing line, or maybe you have more wire at home or more construction paper, like you have endless art supplies or just random stuff in your garage that someone said you can use, please use that. Like, I would love for you to go that route of adding more things. I just gave you stuff that would everybody could make something out of if they had nothing at home. So use what you have in the packet, but you can always add more. So for example, pipe cleaners, things that are recycled, origami, you could paint paper, you could color paper, more beads, more wire, more fishing wire, more yarn. All of those things would help you build this mobile. So it has to have movement and it has to be 12 inches in one direction. Here's some more examples. These are different students' examples of doing kind of wire with a portrait. This will be due in like 2 weeks, October 13th, which is day 1. And for my day 2ers, it's going to be due October 14th. You're welcome to turn it in early, but this is kind of our next big project, and I wanted to give you more time. And you won't work it on in class. You'll work at home creating this. So if you have any questions, please let me know. Otherwise, happy mobile making.